You've probably heard that making your first $1 million is the hardest. Why is that? The simple answer is you need to implement a strategy that will help propel you towards your goal. So in today's video, I'm going to take the guesswork out of it for you and walk you through an easy to use framework that you can implement today that will put you on the way to accumulating your first $1 million in 5 simple steps. Let's get into it. If we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Gabriel Walters and I'm a certified financial planner. I'm also the founder of Steadyworth, where I'm working to make personal financial planning easy to understand. So if you have a question, use the link below to schedule a free call with me. Prior to starting Steadyworth, I worked at a financial planning firm that required all new clients to have a minimum of $1 million in investable assets in order to become a new client. The last few years I was there, the average client that was coming in had somewhere between 2 and 6 million of investable assets. When they would become a client, we would then build them a custom financial plan and a custom investment portfolio. While interacting with these clients, I noticed a few commonalities in how they accumulated their money. Once a person figured out how to get their first million, they could easily accumulate 2, 3, and even more using the same strategy. The first million is usually the hardest because of 2 things. 1, you're figuring out the best way to save the money, while 2, simultaneously figuring out the best way to make the money. And the system of saving money is even more important than the system of making money. Believe it or not, I've seen clients who are making $800,000 a year and they're also spending $800,000 a year. So at the end of the day, it's not about how much money you can make, it's about how much money you can save. But the more you can make while simultaneously saving will get you to your goal quicker. So let's get into this framework that you can use to get you to your first $1 million. Here is Steadyworth's financial planning pyramid. This 9-part framework breaks down the key components to financial planning in 3 different levels. I have another video that explains each component that I will link in the card above and in the description below. This framework is what we're going to be using to get you to your first million, and I'm going to break it down for you in 5 simple steps. Step number 1 is to understand your current financial situation in relation to your goal. First, you will review your income, assets, and debt in relation to your goal. This will let you know your current financial position. So here's a quick example, but you can follow along and plug in your real numbers. Write out your current income, your current assets, and your current debt. So if you have an income of $75,000, assets of $10,000, and debt of $5,000, that means that you have a net worth of $5,000. This is calculated by your total debt minus your total assets. So if you have a net worth of $5,000, that means you have $995,000 that you need to accumulate in order to get to your goal. Accumulating $1 million is related to growing your assets category. The quickest and most efficient way to save $1 million would be to take as much of your income as you can and put it into assets that are producing income. This will keep your income regenerating itself. You also have to keep your debt low to non-existent, because in this case, if you are accruing high interest on debt while simultaneously trying to grow your assets, the interest that you are accruing on high interest debt is working against you. So you always want to start with knowing your current financial standing in relation to your goals. Step number 2 is to build a strategy to help you bridge the gap between where you currently are and your goal. Both assets and debt are created based on how you're spending your money on level 2. So if your expenses, the money you're spending on bills, food, fun, and taxes, are greater than your income and you don't have assets to cover them, you are likely going to debt. Whereas, if the money you're spending on your expenses are less than your income, you now have additional money to save where you can buy assets. By reviewing level 2 components, you can build a strategy and an action plan that will help you eliminate debt and start saving money so that you can accumulate assets. Here are a few things to consider when reviewing your level 2 components. Review your bills. Is it possible that you're overpaying on insurance, subscriptions, possibly a gym membership, or any other bill that you have? Review all of your bills and make sure you're getting the best price for each thing you're paying. Be intentional about food purchases. The biggest issue I see here is buying food that is either not eaten or food that goes bad before it's cooked. So a good way to overcome this is to make a solid grocery list before you go to the grocery store and then come home with things that you're going to make meals with. And of course, when eating out, set a budget so that you eat out within your means. That's been a big one for me because I can spend most of all my money on just going out to eat. Plan your fun. Fun is anything you spend money on in excess of your needs, and I think it's important for every budget to have some fun built into it to help create balance. So plan your fun in advance so it will give you something to look forward to as you're being disciplined. And of course, have fun within your means so that when you do have it, you don't break the bank. Next, account for taxes. Taxes is a bill and is a reoccurring expense. So you want to know how much money you're paying on taxes and see, is there any way that you can legally get your taxes lower? One simple way to do this would be to contribute money to an employer-sponsored retirement account, and if your job doesn't have one, you can also contribute to an IRA. This will reduce your taxable income in that year by the amount you contribute. So if you put $5,000 in and your income's $75,000, you'll only be taxed on $70,000. So this helps you towards your goal in two ways. Is one, it brings down your taxes, and two, it puts some money in an account that is now growing to get you towards your $1 million. Lastly, be intentional about saving. Once you make adjustments to your bills, food, fun, and taxes, you now have more money to save. Make sure that you are paying this money to your savings account just like you would be paying any other bill. Do it, make sure it's reoccurring and it's on time going right into that savings account. So just to recap, step number 2 is about coming up with a strategy so that you are living within your means, spending less than your income so that you can pay off debt if you have any, save, and invest. Do me a quick favor and take a deep breath. We're 2 steps in and we still have 3 steps to go. You can do it. We're almost there. Let's get back into it. Step number 3 is to invest wisely. As you are saving money, you want to be looking for opportunities to put your money to work, and you don't want to rush. Take your time, find the right investments that fit you, fit your personality, fit your investment profile. I've seen people lose money very quickly by putting money into bad investment decisions, and nothing kills your momentum quicker than losing money in a bad investment. So take your time, and if something seems too good to be true, it likely is. So always double, triple check before you put your money into an investment. A couple quick examples of some investment options could be a high yield savings account, a brokerage account where you could invest in mutual funds or ETFs, possibly even stocks and bonds, and or real estate. When putting money into these types of investments, do your research by getting information from multiple sources. Weigh the pros and cons to find out what's right for you. I want to take a moment to circle back to level 1 on the planning pyramid and address your income. You cannot consistently earn or invest your way out of overspending. It's like trying to lose weight while running on the treadmill while simultaneously eating a bunch of ice cream. It won't work. You'll just be going in reverse. So depending on what type of job you have, you may want to consider getting a new job and or starting a side hustle. But before you do any of that, you want to lock in all of the stuff that we've already been talking about so that you can make sure that you're maximizing the money you're already making. Now we're going to get into step number 4, which is level 3 of the financial planning pyramid. And on this level, we're going to add an extra layer of protection to your goal by reviewing insurance and estate planning. You can have a solid income, be keeping your expenses low, be investing, and still have something unexpected happen, such as an unexpected death, a disability, a natural disaster, an accident, and it just come in and throw everything off. You want to avoid that, and the best way to do that is by being insured. Insurance comes into place and protects you while you are in pursuit to your $1 million goal. When something happens that is not accounted for in your budget, it creates an extra demand on your income. If you do not have assets to cover this extra demand, debt is created. Having insurance protects you by providing an additional income when needed so that you don't have to go into debt or use the assets that you are working to accumulate. Having proper insurance will save you stress, time, and money. Some people think they already need to have accumulated their first million in order to have an estate plan, but that is not true. If you have any assets and you're on your road to your first $1 million, you need to have estate planning documents in place. Having an estate plan gives you a voice when you can't speak for yourself, being that you were to die from a premature death or if you were to become incapacitated. I know this isn't fun to think about, but it is through these documents that generational wealth is passed on, and if something were to happen to you, you don't want the state to choose who gets your money or where it goes. You want your money to be put into the hands of the people you want to have it, so estate planning is extremely vital. So insurance protects and estate planning directs. Step number 5 is to review your plan and to make adjustments as needed. Life is constantly changing and you need to make adjustments to your plan so that it changes and updates as your life changes. So back to our previous example of making $75,000, if you're making $75,000 and you have expenses and your goal is to accumulate $1 million, you want to make sure that you have a realistic expectation and a realistic time horizon for this goal, because it's not going to be something that's quick, it's going to take time. And if you want to have this happen quicker, you may want to think about maybe getting a higher paying job. But before you get another job, you want to make sure you have your plan in place and your spending in place, because it doesn't matter if you're making 75 or 150, if you're spending all the money you have coming in, you're still not moving forward towards your goal. Having a financial plan is key because it helps you maximize the money you are already making. So in summary, you want to identify your current financial position in relation to your goal. Bridge the gap between where you currently are and your goal. Invest wisely. Add a layer of protection and make adjustments as needed. Now that you have a working system with the planning pyramid and simple steps to implement, you will be able to save more and make more on your road to $1 million. If you would like to learn more about financial planning, download my free ebook, Why Most Budgets Don't Work. This will help you deepen your understanding of financial planning and what you need to do to maximize your money and get you on the path to financial success. Have a great day, and let's plan for success.